AI agents are already inside Wall Street's infrastructure, but most of them are not allowed to act. On June 14, Morgan Stanley did something no major bank had done before. It opened parts of its wealth management infrastructure to external AI agents. Not an internal tool, not a pilot with a vendor, production infrastructure. Corporate clients can now connect autonomous software directly to platforms that administer employee stock plans. I chose this topic because the coverage focused on cost savings and headcount reduction. That misses the structural change. A bank with $325 billion in wealth management assets just decided something. Controlled access from outside agents beats keeping the walls up. That is a platform decision, not a productivity decision. And it happened at a specific moment. 54% of financial firms are now deploying AI agents in production. That number was 18% 2 years ago. 3 times growth in 24 months, but there is a number the headlines leave out. The best AI model for finance tasks gets 64% of the answers right on the industry benchmark. 1 in 3 is still wrong. This episode is about the gap between those two numbers. 54% deployment, 64% accuracy, and the infrastructure that has to exist between them for any of this to work. 7 weeks before Morgan Stanley's announcement, Anthropic released 10 AI agent templates covering front, middle, and back office workflows. The technical architecture matters for one reason. Anthropic built connectors to 11 live data sources, FactSet, S&P Capital IQ, MSCI, all through the Model Context Protocol, or MCP, which it open-sourced in late 2024. MCP standardizes connectivity, but it does not solve authorization. That distinction is the whole story. The strategic positioning counts for more. Anthropic is not trying to replace Bloomberg Terminal. It is positioning Claude as the orchestration layer above the data providers. You still need FactSet's data. You still need S&P's entity records. Claude just becomes the interface you use to access all of them. The UI moves, the data stays. Bloomberg saw this coming. In February 2026, it launched ASKB, a conversational AI interface for the terminal. 125,000 beta users out of 375,000 terminal subscribers, multiple LLMs under the hood, including Anthropic's own models. Bloomberg CTO Sean Edwards said it plainly, "This will be the new terminal, the primary way most interactions happen. 2 terminals, 1 gate. Anthropic wants to sit above the data providers and route queries across them. Bloomberg wants to keep the data and the interface under one roof. The user still pays. The question is who controls the access point." And here is where the Morgan Stanley move fits. If agents connect directly to bank infrastructure through governed APIs, the terminal does not disappear. It transforms. The old terminal was a data retrieval matrix. The new one is an audit and authorization dashboard. The question shifts from who owns the data to who controls the permission on that dashboard. Now let me show you the constraint that shapes everything else. In April 2026, the VAL's AI finance agent benchmark was rebuilt with oversight from Goldman Sachs, Silver Lake, and Citadel experts. It tests AI performance across equity research, credit analysis, and SEC filing interpretation. Real financial work, not trivia. Claude Opus 4.7 scored 64.37%, state-of-the-art, the best number on the board, roughly 1/3 error rate on this benchmark. Meaningful error still exists at scale. Think about what this means in practice. An earnings reviewer agent summarizes a company's quarterly call and updates the financial model. At roughly a 1/3 error rate, a human has to check every output before it enters the model. The agent does not replace the analyst. It changes the analyst's job from producing the work to auditing the work. At a 95% accuracy rate, you could start trusting agents for routine tasks with spot checks. At 64%, every output needs human review. The efficiency gain is real but bounded. You go from doing the work from scratch to reviewing a draft. That saves hours per task. It does not eliminate the task. This is why the deployment numbers and the accuracy numbers tell different stories. 54% of financial firms say they are deploying AI agents. But what does deployment mean? If it means agents produce drafts that humans review, the technology is delivering value today. If it means agents execute autonomously, the technology is not there yet. Most deployments sit somewhere in between, and the distance between producing a draft and executing autonomously is the permission gap. I have been watching AI infrastructure investments for a year now, and I notice the same pattern in every conversation. The first question is always, which model is best? Whose benchmark is higher? When does the next generation ship? That is the wrong question. The bottleneck is not the model, the bottleneck is permission. Here is what I mean. Morgan Stanley opened its infrastructure to agents. It did not give agents keys to the kingdom. The announcement specified that agents operate under specific permissions, within defined boundaries, with human oversight for consequential actions. An agent analyzing portfolio risk should not operate under the same permissions as one involved in lending decisions. The permissions are the product. The Financial Stability Board published a consultation report on June 10 proposing 12 practices for governing agentic AI in financial services. The FSB's primary concern, agents can take hundreds of intermediate steps toward a goal. Errors can compound before any human can intervene. The report warns of operational or cyber failures at great speed. And here is the number that should stop you. 33% of organizations deploying AI agents have no audit-ready logs. 1/3 of the firms putting agents into production cannot prove what the agent did after the fact. What data it accessed, who authorized it to act. That is the permission gap. Agents have the skills, banks have the demand, but the infrastructure to let agents act with accountability does not exist at scale yet. Identity systems, delegation chains, audit trails, context-aware permission checks, none of it. What does the missing infrastructure actually look like? 3 controls have to exist before an agent can touch production data in a regulated financial institution. First, authenticated identity with a delegation chain. Every agent action must be traceable to a human authorizer. Who approved this agent? For what purpose? With access to what data? If you cannot answer those questions on demand, no regulator will accept the deployment. The delegation chain is the legal foundation. Without it, agents are shadow operators. Second, attribute-based access control at the operation level. Permission is not granted once and left open. An agent authorized to read KYC documents is not automatically authorized to download them, or transmit them externally, or use them as training data. Every request must be evaluated in real time against data classification and the operation requested. Static API keys cannot do this. OAuth scopes are too broad. This requires context-aware authorization. Third, tamper-evident audit logs. Not activity logs, not debug traces, audit logs that can survive regulatory examination. Logs that record what the agent saw, what it decided, what it executed, and which human approved each consequential step. 1/3 of deploying firms do not have this. That is not a compliance gap. It is a deployment blocker. Morgan Stanley's move makes sense here. Controlled access, with governance built into the connection point, beats keeping the walls up. If the agent steps outside its permission boundary, the connection is severed. The governance is the product as much as the capability. The protocols are being standardized. MCP for connectivity, Microsoft IQ for organizational context. But protocols standardize connectivity, not authorization. The gap between a protocol and a production-ready permission system. That is the distance between a blueprint and a building. 3 layers, 3 value positions. Layer 1, the model. Claude Opus 4.7, GPT-5, Gemini 2, commoditizing fast. Benchmarks converge every quarter. Pricing pressure is real. Capability alone does not solve deployment. It is the chip, not the computer. Layer 2, orchestration. The current war. Anthropic's MCP connectors, Bloomberg's ASKB, Microsoft IQ. Who becomes the primary interface between user and data? This layer controls distribution. Whoever sits here routes queries, enforces access policies, captures a share of every interaction. Anthropic has early momentum. Bloomberg has the installed base. Microsoft has the enterprise relationship. A real competitive fight. Layer 3, governance and permission. Identity, audit, delegation, permission boundaries, the bottleneck. And bottlenecks are where durable value is created. The parallel is enterprise cloud. Cybersecurity grew from $75 billion in 2019 to over $200 billion by 2026. not because security was more interesting than cloud, because it was the precondition for adoption. Agent governance is in the same position. Breadth 54% adoption, 33% without audit logs. The permission infrastructure has to catch up. The companies that build it capture value regardless of which model or orchestration layer wins. This is not just a Wall Street story. The same bottleneck showed up on the other side. June 18, financial regulators issued the first AI governance framework for banking and insurance, 32 requirements mirroring the FSB's. Lifecycle management, risk classification by scenario, mandatory human oversight for high-risk deployments like credit approval and fund trading. No risk committee approval, no go live. H1 2026, 97 financial AI agent public tenders, banks accounting for 47. One major bank claims 800 AI scenarios. Another runs 5 core agents. The industry cannot even agree on what counts as an agent. Same permission gap. Different regulatory path. Same structural bottleneck. Primary market lens. The model layer is priced for large-cap public investors. The orchestration layer is being built by the largest AI companies on Earth. The governance layer is still early. Companies building agent identity, compliance APIs, tamper-evident audit trails, and context-aware permission frameworks are where the best cybersecurity firms were in 2019. Demand is growing faster than supply. 3 layers. Models provide capability. Orchestration controls distribution. Governance provides permission. Attention is on the first 2. The model benchmarks. The Anthropic versus Bloomberg fight for the analyst desktop. Real competition, but between well-funded incumbents with distribution advantages. The third layer, permission, is the structural gap. 54% deploying agents, best model at roughly 1/3 error rate. A third of firms cannot produce audit-ready logs. The FSB is writing rules for infrastructure that has not been built.
This episode was not about China specifically, but this 3-layer architecture decides where Chinese AI financial companies capture value. Model layer, commodity risk, orchestration layer, locked between global incumbents. Governance layer, that is where position decides return. Intelligence is becoming cheap. Permission is becoming the scarce asset. From Wall Street AI permission gate to China's green energy supply chain, different words, same logic. When technology drives a cost curve to near zero, the market reprice the entire value chain. Next time, solar and storage, I will walk through the numbers. If you found this useful, subscribe. See you next time.